Lil Durk's life has changed in a big way over the last 5 months. He went from living in a high-rise penthouse to sitting inside a prison cell. The feds have locked him up at MDC Los Angeles, and he is waiting for his trial. They say he put money on a rival's head, and if he is found guilty, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. No parole, no way out. But before the trial even begins, people wonder what life is really like for him behind bars. Not long ago, Durk was living like a king. He had big houses, fast cars, private jets, and a career that put him at the top of the rap world. But everything changed in just one moment. Now, instead of waking up to a beautiful view and soft sheets, he opens his eyes to cold walls and a hard bed in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles. His real name is Durk Derek Banks, and he was arrested on October 24th. At first, they locked him up at the Miami Federal Detention Center, but this time, it is not just another small problem with the law. This time, it could change his life forever. The feds came down with full force, and this was not a small case. Lil Durk was not facing a minor charge. He was hit with a serious indictment, linking him to an alleged murder-for-hire plan that led to bloodshed. The case was about the killing of Lua in August 2022. Lua was Quando Rondo's cousin, and prosecutors say it was a planned attack. As more charges added up, conspiracy, illegal gun possession, and organizing a murder for hire, it became clear that the government had no plans to let Durk walk away from this. His legal team tried everything to get him out. They offered a $3 million bond package, hoping he could wait for his trial at home instead of behind bars. But the court refused their request. They argued that he was too much of a risk, saying that if he was released, he could try to influence witnesses or avoid facing justice. Because of this, the judge denied his bail, shutting down any chance of temporary freedom. That decision was devastating, crushing any hope that he could fight his case from the outside. Now, he had no choice but to remain locked up until his trial. On November 13th, with little media coverage, he was quietly transferred to MDC Los Angeles, a high-security federal detention center. This move meant that he was now held in a facility known for housing serious offenders. He was not alone, though. Some of his closest OTF members were also locked up with him, all facing the same heavy charges. Among them were Kayvon, KZ Grant, DeAndre, D.D. Wilson, Keith, Flacca, Jones, and Asa, Boogie Houston. These were not just people he knew. They were once his brothers in the streets, the same people who stood by his side through everything. They had built their empire together, rising from difficult beginnings to make a name for themselves. But now, instead of moving freely and enjoying their success, they were sitting in a prison cell, uncertain about their future. The reality of their situation was harsh. Instead of making music and performing for fans, they were stuck behind concrete walls, waiting for their day in court. Time was moving slowly, and the weight of their circumstances was pressing down on them. They could only hope that somehow, they would get another chance at freedom. If Durk thought MDC Los Angeles would be easier than Miami, he was wrong. The prison does not have iron bars or old, dark hallways like some jails, but that does not mean it is any better. It was built in 1988 to hold people waiting for trial, not those serving long sentences. But now, with too many inmates and not enough staff, the place is overcrowded. Inside, it is every man for himself. Prison has turned into a dangerous place. Unlike state prisons, where inmates are kept in different areas based on their crimes, MDC Los Angeles has all kinds of criminals mixed together. Drug lords, violent offenders, gang leaders, and well-known criminals are all locked up in the same place. When so many powerful men are forced to live side by side, trouble is bound to happen. Fights break out every day, tempers rise without warning, and even a small argument can turn into a big riot. There is no such thing as celebrity status in prison. Lil Durk may be one of the biggest rappers in the world, but inside, he is just another inmate. Some people even see him as a target. The situation is made worse by the smuggling of illegal items. Several prison guards at MDC have been caught sneaking in drugs, weapons, and cell phones in exchange for money. Some officers look the other way, allowing gangs inside the prison to grow stronger. For someone like Durk, who already has enemies because of his rap career and gang ties, one wrong move could put his life in danger. The prison itself is in very bad condition. Inmates say the place is falling apart with broken equipment, dirty living spaces, and long delays in fixing anything. Even the most basic needs take months to be provided, making life inside even more stressful. Being locked up with his OTF friends might seem like a good thing, but in federal prison, loyalty does not always last. When people are under pressure, even the strongest friendships can break. Durk and his crew are not just sitting around passing time, they are fighting to survive. The feds have built a strong case against them, and as the trial date gets closer, the tension keeps growing. The fear of informants, plea deals, and betrayals is always there. Nobody wants to be the one left behind, and in federal cases, people who help the government can get their sentences reduced. It is also unclear how much contact Durk has with his co-defendants. In federal prison, people who are part of the same case are often kept apart so they cannot plan their defense together. If the feds think anyone is trying to change a witness's statement, things could get even worse for Durk. On top of all this, Durk has already caught the attention of prison officials for breaking the rules. Court records show that he was caught making three-way phone calls, which is strictly forbidden in MDC. Prosecutors used this against him, saying that if he could not even follow jail rules, then he could not be trusted to follow the law if released. This gave the court another reason to deny his bail. But the hardest part might not be the danger, it is the mental battle. Sitting alone in a small cell, cut off from the outside world, waiting to see what will happen next, can break even the strongest person. Durk has built his career on survival, but this is his biggest test yet. The prison has some mental health services, but they are very limited. There is crisis support and therapy, but private sessions are rare. Most of the time, inmates are left alone with their thoughts. The isolation, the stress, and the fear of the future, it can be too much to handle. The only break comes from recreational activities. MDC has a basketball court, indoor games like ping pong and pool, and even educational programs for inmates who want to finish school. But in a place where violence can start at any second, relaxing is not always easy. Even playing basketball means keeping an eye on who is around at all times. Despite everything, Durk is trying to stay strong, or at least that is what he wants the outside world to believe. A leaked prison phone call from November 15th showed him trying to stay hopeful. He told a friend that he was keeping his spirits high and focusing on getting back to his family. "Just got off the phone with my brother at Lear. He in good spirits, staying positive and fighting to get back home to his kids and family," read an Instagram caption. He is not asking for sympathy, but he is letting the world know that he is not giving up. No matter how strong a person is, prison changes them. The stress of waiting for trial, the fear of a long sentence, and the constant worry about who might betray them, it all takes a toll. Lil Durk may sound calm on the phone, but behind closed doors, he is facing the hardest battle of his life. And with the way his case is going, his time in jail may not be temporary. Lil Durk's legal troubles have only gotten worse since his arrest. What started as a murder-for-hire charge has now turned into something even more serious, a full RICO case. If he is found guilty, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. No parole, no second chances. The feds are not just trying to put him in jail, they want to make sure he never walks free again. In November 2024, prosecutors revealed a new indictment that painted Durk as the leader of a dangerous gang. They claim his OTF, Only the Family, music label was not just about rap, it was a cover for a street gang involved in murder, violence, and organized crime. The feds have used the RICO law for years to take down powerful crime groups. Now, they're using it against Durk and his team. If Lil Durk is convicted, it could be the end of one of the biggest names in modern rap. His music, his influence, and everything he built are on the line. Fans are still posting #FreeDurk all over social media, hoping for a miracle. But the truth is, things are looking bad for him. His trial has not even started yet, and he is already facing the full force of the system. Time is running out for Lil Durk. His trial was first set for January 7, 2025, but now it has been delayed to October 14, 2025. This gives both sides more time to prepare, but for Durk, it also means more time in jail, more stress, and more uncertainty about his future. The government is coming with everything they have. They have 230 gigabytes of digital evidence, 20,000 pages of documents, hours of surveillance footage, and witness statements. Prosecutors are treating this case as one of the biggest hip-hop-related criminal cases in years. They claim Durk was the mastermind, ordering hits, funding violence, and using OTF as a cover for organized crime. But is their case really as strong as they say? One big problem for the prosecution is that most of their evidence is circumstantial. They say OTF credit cards were used to book flights, rental cars, and masks for the hitmen, linking Durk to the crime. But his lawyers can argue that many people had access to those cards, so it does not prove that he was involved. Another key piece of evidence is a message Durk allegedly sent: "Do not book any flights or anything under my name." Prosecutors say this proves he knew about the murder plot. But his defense team can argue that it actually proves the opposite, that he wanted no part in whatever was happening. Then there is surveillance footage showing OTF members meeting after the murder, supposedly talking about payments and music. The prosecutors say this meeting was about paying for the hit. But the defense could argue that it was just business as usual for a rap label. At this point, nobody knows how this will end. But one thing is clear: the fight for Lil Durk's freedom is just getting started. The prosecution is trying to use financial records to suggest that Lil Durk paid for the hit. However, since Durk was not physically there, proving that he directly ordered the attack is much harder. Some fans and legal experts believe that without solid proof, like a direct order, a confession, or a witness testifying against him, the case is not as strong as it seems. Despite the prosecution's efforts, many fans are convinced that Durk will not be convicted. A growing number of people believe the evidence against him is too weak to hold up in court. One Reddit user confidently wrote, "Mark my words, Durk will walk." His co-defendants are in way more trouble, even if one of them snitches, because their record will make them look unreliable. Defense lawyers will tear them apart in cross-examination. Other fans have made similar arguments, saying there is no direct evidence linking Durk to the crime. Unlike the actual hitman, Durk was not at the scene when the murder happened. Unless prosecutors have hidden evidence that directly proves he was the mastermind, convicting him might be difficult. One of the biggest arguments in Durk's favor is that using OTF credit cards does not automatically prove guilt. Fans argue that many people in his camp had access to the label's funds. Just because someone used an OTF card to book a flight or a rental car does not mean Durk personally approved it. Another key point is Durk's recent image change. His lawyers can argue that he has been focusing on positive music, giving to charity, and even embracing Islam. His hit song, "All My Life," was a clear effort to distance himself from street violence. Some fans have even tried to break down the case into probabilities. One person wrote, "Durk has about a 60 to 80% chance of walking free." The only real evidence they have is that message about not booking flights under his name. But that can be flipped in his favor. His lawyers can argue that it actually shows he was trying to stay away from whatever was happening. Not everyone agrees that Durk is safe. Some fans have pointed out that federal prosecutors rarely lose cases. If they are coming after Durk, they likely believe they have enough evidence to convict him. One big concern for Durk's legal team is whether one of his co-defendants will decide to testify against him. Right now, 5 other OTF members are facing charges along with Durk. They all have a choice: fight the case and risk life in prison, or take a plea deal and testify against Durk. One of them, DeAndre "D.D. Wilson, has already made a move that suggests he might be thinking about flipping. He requested a pre-plea sentence report, which is often a step taken before agreeing to cooperate with the government. If Wilson decides to testify, he could give the prosecution exactly what they need to convict Durk. This is why Durk's legal team is watching every move the other defendants make. Right now, Durk's future is hanging in the balance. The case is moving forward, and every new development could change everything. Will he walk free, or is this the beginning of the end? Only time will tell. If one of Lil Durk's close friends or associates decides to speak against him in court, It will make his case very difficult to win. When someone from your own circle turns against you, it gives the prosecutors strong evidence that can be hard to fight. The authorities are already watching him closely, and if they get a witness who was once part of his team, they will use that testimony to prove their case. But if somehow, against all odds, he manages to beat these charges, it will be a huge victory, not just for him, but for the entire hip-hop industry. It will send a message that federal prosecutors do not always get what they want. In many cases, when the government decides to go after someone, they have a high chance of winning. They gather a lot of evidence, build strong arguments, and use their power to make sure they get a conviction. But if Lil Durk walks away free, it will show that even when the government tries to take down a rap star, they do not always succeed. It will prove that the legal system is not one-sided and that a strong defense can still win, even against powerful prosecutors. However, if the case does not go in his favor and he ends up losing, it will confirm that the government is very serious about taking down famous rappers who they believe are involved in crime. It will show that they do not see rap stars as just musicians. They see them as powerful figures who can influence people, just like gang leaders or crime bosses. This would not be the first time the authorities have gone after a rapper in this way. History has shown that when prosecutors believe an artist is connected to criminal activities, they do everything they can to prove it in court. If Lil Durk loses, it will be another example of how the legal system is cracking down on hip-hop artists in the same way they go after organized crime figures. Despite the serious risks he is facing, including the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison, Lil Durk is not letting his situation bring his career to an end. Many people in his position might stop making music, disappear from the public eye, and focus only on their legal issues. But he is choosing to keep pushing forward. His music is still reaching people, his name is still in conversations, and fans continue to support him. Even with the weight of this case on his shoulders, he is not allowing it to silence him or slow him down. His team is also working hard to make sure he stays relevant, both in music and in the public eye. Before his arrest, Durk was at the top of his game. He was releasing hit songs, teasing big collaborations, and preparing to drop what was supposed to be one of the biggest rap albums of 2024, his album, Deep Thoughts. The album was originally set to come out on October 18, 2024. Fans were excited and counting down the days, but after his arrest, everything changed. At first, the release date was quietly moved to November 22nd. Some fans noticed when the date on Apple Music was suddenly different. They were disappointed, but still hopeful that it would not be delayed for long. Then, as his legal troubles got worse, the album was delayed again, this time to March 2025. Fans became even more frustrated. They had been waiting nearly 2 years for this album, and in the meantime, songs like Turn Up a Notch, Monitoring Me, and Late Checkout had kept them excited. Deep Thoughts was supposed to be Durk's most personal album ever, talking about his journey, struggles, and the price of success. Things got even crazier when a fake tracklist leaked on October 1st, setting social media on fire. The list included surprising names like Kai Cenat, Morgan Wallen, and Sabrina Carpenter. This started a huge debate. Some people thought Durk was changing his sound too much to reach a bigger audience. But Durk quickly shut down the rumors. He confirmed that the leaked tracklist was fake, but he did not reveal the real one, leaving fans guessing. One song that fans really hope is on the album is Discontinuing Walk Hard, a collaboration with Drake. DJ Academics and Aiden Ross had teased the track, and Academics even played a small part of what looked like a music video. Later, some fans thought Drake had been removed from the song. But when the fake tracklist was exposed, hope for the Drake feature returned. Now, with Durk sitting in jail and his album on hold, fans are asking, will he ever get the chance to release it? Through all of this, Durk is not alone. His family is standing by him, showing up to court, making public statements, and proving they will support him no matter what. One of his strongest supporters is his longtime girlfriend, India Royale. After his arrest, she was seen outside the courthouse. The photos quickly spread online, and people had a lot to say. Some fans praised her for staying by his side. "This is real love," one person wrote. Others thought it was not a big deal. A loyal partner should always be there, another person said. Some people even questioned if her support would last. Let us see if she stays with him during this tough time, someone commented. Durk and India's relationship has had many ups and downs. They started dating in 2017, broke up briefly in 2022, but got back together. No matter what, she has always been important in his life, and by showing up in court, she is proving that she is still standing by him. The case is still going, and Durk's future is uncertain. His career, his freedom, and everything he has built are on the line. Now, everyone is asking the same question: will Lil Durk walk free, or is this the end of his story? Only time will tell.